Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. Come on now. Got a great show tonight. Got Ricky Jason on tonight. His brother, man, you know, he community activist, protege of late great Dick Gregory. Fantastic, man. And we're just going to set the record straight. It's got a serious piece, man, and it's a hell of a thing, man. I saw it and I was completely blown away by it. You know, this brother's going to come out and he's going to take us through the steps, through the paces, and it's a hell of a thing. Yeah, yeah. In the meantime, between time, listen to my man Yasin breaking it down. Come on, y'all. Uh-huh. What? Take a walk with the 10 man. Tell them about it, y'all. The game and the bullet the dice, and I think the motherfuckers loaded, paranoid and the legally skits with the twin automatics who come out of your shit. My man Yasin talking and breaking it down. We've been going through a lot here. That record, that song is called "I'ma Shine Regardless," and it's my man Yasin that laid that track down some 30 years ago. Yeah, and it was relevant then. Uh, Talking the truth. A lot of times when you deal with the truth, because in this society we deal with a lot of falsehoods, and we don't deal with the truth. That's how that was. That George Santos, that politician that lied to get in. You know, he lied. That's what he did. He's a politician. You know, so he didn't do anything outside of what his training was, basically. You know, from how I see it. You know, but I don't know. Yeah, so like I said, we have Ricky Jason on tonight, and Ricky he's an entertainer. You know, I don't even know where to begin, where to start to tell you about what this brother has done and what he's doing and the work that he put in. And yeah, he's fascinating. And I saw, you know, I was actually like, when I was watching the documentary, it was about, you know what, before we get into that, before I bring the brother out, you know, I just want to talk about that incident that happened also in Memphis with the 5 cops that beat this black man, and and the cops are black themselves. You know, they were black. So I don't know, you know, what went down, what that whole situation was about, you know, but it's just you say black on black. That does that lessen the hate if it's, you know, the racism is there. We're so conditioned, and slavery did a number on us, as we all know, and you know, but they said it was a little bit something more that went on, you know, with that situation in regard to girlfriend, ex-wife, baby mothers, and stuff like that. Now I don't know if that's the case, if that's what really jumped off. You know, I don't know, but they were saying that that was something else that went on with that. But yeah, so what we're gonna do now, what I want to do, uh, I don't want to belabor the point anymore. Like I was saying, this brother I want to bring out, he's made his mark on the world as a multi-talented singer, a dancer, a recording artist, a filmmaker, and community activist. All right. Some achievements include, but are not also limited to the following. He was a founding member of the pop locking group, the Electric Glow Dancers. Give him a big round of applause for that. Huh? Yes, he recorded 3 full CD complications featuring a number one hit, Show and Tell. I remember that. Love, Peace, and Harmony. He produced an award winning documentary entitled Life of Bird. This is it right here. The life and tragic death of James Bird Jr. And we're going to highlight and showcase that tonight. And I'll show some clips on that. And there he is. There's Ricky right there. And but yes, he's won 46 awards for this documentary, along with as we have it here, the Rush Philanthropic Arts Foundation Award, which was endorsement bestowed upon him by Chairman Danny Simmons. And without further ado, let's not belabor the point, but let's bring out Mr. Ricky Jason. Hey, Ricky.
Greetings, greetings, greetings.
So, greetings, yes, sir.
First of all, I thank and I praise God that we all have made it here safe today. And I pray to God that your return and my return will be equally safe. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good, brother. Thank you for blessing my show. It's a pleasure having you on. Honor, actually, because of the work that you've done, and you worked with your mentor, which Dick Gregory, the late
That's right.
great, brilliant Dick Gregory.
I was his protege for 30-something
Yeah,
years, and I miss him so much, and his teachings is in my head, and I'm using his teachings to help people like Momil, Christopher Shaw, and a lot of other people around the world. And I'm humbled to be on your show today too, as well.
I say a shout out to Karen. She's in Wisconsin. And a shout out to you, Karen. Thank you for tuning in. As always, Karen is a loyal supporter. She's there for us and with us all the time. And Ricky, I want to say I was also happy. This is a Black History Month, right?
Yes,
And today's
yes,
February 5th is your birthday as well,
yes,
huh?
yeah,
Let's give,
yeah.
let's give
Today
Ricky
is
a
my
happy
birthday.
birthday. Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you. Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
And about 32 now.
Oh, like Dick Gregory said, I'm trying to find out who my daddy is, But uh, I'm older. I'm older now. I'm more wiser now. Dick took me on as a young kid and said he saw something special in me. And I couldn't believe it. Somebody from Beaumont, Texas could be his protege and, and learn so much that I needed to learn. You know, he was like a father, he was like a friend, and he never told me no, and I thank him so much and I miss him. Like I said, I miss him so much, his teachings, because so much is going on in the world today that Dick talks about before it even happened. I mean, it's a
First
lot
time
of things.
I came aware of like a lot of me to cut you, but he was talking about those chemtrails. He put me onto that. I mean, Prince had said something. I was watching some show and Prince was on. But he had said that he had referenced that Dick Gregory had put him onto it. You know, and
Yes.
yeah, so some heavy stuff. Some heavy stuff. Um, you know what? Tell us a little bit, Ricky, about. I know Mr. Gregory. He seemed like he was stern. Like he didn't play. He didn't take no shorts, and
He was the type of person, if he felt something was wrong, if he felt that you wasn't listening, you're gonna be getting on the bus or the plane and going back home. He was very firm about things, like he knew about what happened in Jasper before the local news here knew. And I'm 40
Are
miles
you
from
serious?
Jasper, Texas. Yes. He knew about it. He called me in the middle of the night and said, "You need to get down to Jasper, Texas, Jason, with your camcorder, because a black man was dragged to his death." And I said, "What you said, Mr. Gregory?" He said, "Get your camera and get your ass to Jasper."
He
Uh,
said it just like that.
yes. When I got to Jasper, I stayed there for 3 months. Dick paid for it out of his own pocket for 3 months. And the people were so afraid to talk. They said, "We'll talk if you can make Mr. Gregory come here and talk to the community." That happened down the line. I did make that happen, and the people was thrilled that he came to a little town like Jasper, Texas. They was thrilled just to touch him, but they asked me, "How do it feel?" You never know when you lose somebody how it feels to be around that person. Like I said, I remember when Dick used to be at Neverland, and Michael would be sitting right there, and he would call me all the time. He said, "Ricky, the phones here are huge, huge, huge." He said, "We gonna get Michael to say something on the James Berry documentary." He said, "Leave that up to me. Who's smart, me or you?" I said, "You, Mr. Gregory." But so much had happened, and Michael didn't get a chance to be on the documentary. Matter of fact, Ozzie Davis didn't either, because Ozzie had passed away, and Miss wife, Miss Ruby D, called me and said, "Mr. Jason, Ozzie had passed, and we were sick because we wanted that voice." And then we found Donnie Simpson's niece out of Washington, D.C. And for when I heard her, I was like, "That's the one." God is good. It's been some journeys. I've went to jail behind this documentary. I've got death threats. When the last execution for Bill King, when I got out of the van, they said I had over 186 death threats. And they had to move me to a special spot. They said because, and I'm going to be honest with you, I thought I wasn't going to make it home that day because I didn't have Dick Gregory with me, because I had to finish our work, because we usually be there 3 days and 3 nights sleeping outside, fasting for life, because so many innocent people been railroaded, like Mumia Abu-Jamal, Rodney Reed. So many innocent people been railroaded. So I had to go. I was warned by so many people, don't go to the execution, and I went, and I couldn't believe the skinheads that I seen. I couldn't believe that Bill King said he was ready to go where all white people was. If he had to do it over again, he would drag Bird over again. Matter of fact, Bill had wrote me.
He said that they
Yes,
were these all three of these were Ku Klux Klan's members.
yes,
And you know what really got me, what took me aback was the fact that it was 1998. This wasn't in the 20s, the 50s, and this was just relatively just people don't know. I went to I went to Grambling. You're from Texas. I went to
yes,
Grambling, and school in Louisiana, and I'm from New York, based out of New York, city boy for all intents and purposes. All my family's Southern Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, but I never experienced it myself. And I'll never forget. I had was on a meetups in a town called Ruston, Louisiana. That's where Terry Bradshaw is from, Louisiana Tech. You know what I'm talking about.
mhm.
And
Yeah,
I'm
I
in
heard of that. Yeah,
Ruston, and it's hot. I'm going across the street, and I'm in downtown Ruston, and I'm on the medium going across. I step on, and a truck pulled up, and these two white cats, and they looked at me. And one boy, he looked at me and just said, "Nigga, hey nigga," but the way he said it. Now I've heard nigger before, but I've never heard nigger the way he said it. It went through
Wow.
me. It was chilling. Because he meant it, but then that's when I realized where I was at. It didn't really register on me to the full impact that, I mean, I'm down south. Yeah, fine. But, when he said nigger, the way he said it, that really, that took me back. But you know what, Ricky, what I want to do,
Okay.
because you're talking about, you're covering, some, topics and stuff. I want to play a clip to give uh, an introduction as far as to what you're talking about, as far as this brother, this James Byrd Jr. This is your piece here, the Byrd, the life and tragic death of James Byrd Jr. I want to, to give a little background on that. You already did, and then we'll fill in the pieces as we go along. I have some other pieces, and I also want to shout my boy out. I want to say, Pancho, what's up, baby? Welcome. God bless you for tuning in. Boy, Pancho is always on the check-in. Say hello to Mr. Jason, Ricky Jason,
How you doing,
Cameron.
Mr. Punch?
Hello. Good evening. Yes. It's a hell of a thing. But yeah, I'm going to take these off. Take this off as well. The captions. And we're going to play that clip.
And we want the audience to know that James Byrd was alive during most of the dragging. He was alive.
Lord have mercy.
I felt his flesh when I walked the streets on Huff Creek Road in my hand, and I didn't sleep for months. I was out there. It was one of the worst smells I ever smelled in my life.
You could still smell it.
I was scared.
Let's play this clip here and give the people a little bit background and history, and we'll talk when we come back up.
Hot sunny morning in 98, the 7th of June in Jasper, Texas. After breakfast, people walked to work or to church to hear the pastor's message. On a road called Huff Creek, found it tough to speak because what they saw left them gasping and breathless. The broken body of Byrd. And sure, you probably heard the story. It's rather gory, and if you follow the words, you can somewhat get a picture. But can you really picture being chained up into a pickup truck and drugged until the street ripped your arm off and decapitate you? And the ones who perpetrated this act, for the simple fact that you were black, they had to hate you, mad at nature, because she made you beautiful. And that's irrefutable. Like the fact that crack, street pharmaceuticals is genocide to blacks. And although this attack on Byrd left the whole world disturbed, a few years back, it was common and not unusual for other brothers to get done like that. And the irony of it all, y'all, was Byrd was often heard saying that he would put Jasper, Texas on the map. But Jasper, Texas put him on the map, figuratively and literally. In spite the insanity of this calamity, his family refused to respond bitterly. And considering the circumstances, what riddles me is, we rallied to save the killers, but who rallied to save Byrd?
The officers easily found out what had happened. A trace of what affidavits grimly described as a brown substance stained the road for almost 3 miles. Byrd had been dragged to death, an atrociously brutal means of killing that had been suffered by African Americans at the hands of whites in the South earlier in the 1900s. Word quickly spread around the nation and the world. Within a day, reporters were making their way to the town of 8,000 first from Houston and Beaumont, Texas, and then from other states and countries. America watched as Jasper, Texas became the focal point of a national hate crime. One of the hottest summers in recent years, with no rain or clouds in well over a month, the morning of June 7, 1998, offered no hope for change in a small town in East Texas. The setting was Jasper, Texas. Local residents in Jasper heading to work and church that Sunday morning along Huff Creek Road made a horrendous discovery, a headless body in the road.
In Texas, when you write Jasper, Jasper got to be this big and Texas got to be twice as big. So they know it happened in this state here. They felt comfortable that they could do this. And the reaction to it, it'd be a whole lot of people that might feel that way. But they got to think twice now because of the swiftness of what happened. The world news that went out. The world press beat a path here. Because remember, there can't be no such thing as luck when somebody kill you, but if it was with him. I mean, if that would happen 40 years ago, there was no cable news. There was no 24-hour news. It was 3 networks, and you got the evening news. And here, from the time the word got out, it was running around the clock, 24 hours a day. It was the lead news. And people reacted to it.
I can't rate it 1 through 2. I've worked 2 murders as a sheriff, and I'll tell you this was worse than the other one.
Wow. Incredible. But
Yes.
and you were there how long after? You know, did Gregory called you?
Well, Dick called me the night it happened and said that I need to get down to Jasper, Texas. And I was like, for what? He asked me how far. He thought I was in Houston. I said, no, I'm in Beaumont. I said, it's about 40-something miles. He said, well, you need to get a camcorder. Get there, because a black man was dragged to his death in one of the worstest hate crimes in history. And when I got there, I knew some of the news people from Beaumont, and I was able to get in to film, to walk and where it would happen at, and grab some of his blood and flesh and rub in my hands. It was like something. It was like a horror movie. Something I ain't never seen in my life, you know. And Dick said he wanted me to stay there for 3 months. He said, and talk to the community, see what happened. And that's when I started writing Sean Berry, and Sean Berry wrote me, because I went and seen Sean Berry first before the son and Martin King went in, because Dick Gregory said he wanted to make sure that he wasn't talking crazy. And he said, well, what did he say? I seen him 3 times. Dick said, don't go in there no more. 1 was enough. Why did you go back in there? I said, I went back in there because he was telling me what happened. He said that the second time the truck slowed down and the chains came off. That's what Sean Berry told me. Now, he's in this little plexiglass in prison. He got 45 years. He said he didn't have nothing to lose. He said, tell Mr. Gregory I'm willing to see the son and Martin King III. He said, Mr. Jason, I thank you for making this happen. And he says, Mr. Gregory, don't come see me. I said, Mr. Gregory said he do not want to see you because you was there. He said, I was afraid. He said, I sat and watched. He said, why is you going to watch something like that? And he said, well, I don't have no reason to lie. And I exhausted all my appeals and everything and stuff. You know, I just hate that it happened. And I got life in here. And I wish it could have been the other way around. He said, I was just afraid. He said, I even peed on myself. He said, when they did the autopsy and did all the other stuff and the DNA, he said, all my pants were soaking wet. He said, because they told me if I was to try to get involved in it, that I was a nigger lover and that they would kill me too. And I said, well, it was 2. It could have been 2 fighting 2. And he said, when it hit the curve, he said, felt like the whole back of the bumper came off. And he said, Bill King looked back and said, man, look, the nigger flying everywhere. And then when they got by the church, he said that Russell Brewer, when they found Russell Brewer, his foot was broke. His foot was broke because that other piece that was still on the chain in front of that church on the MLK in Jasper, he hated him so much, he kept kicking it until he broke his foot. So when they found Russell Brewer, his foot was broke. And I said, and you sat and you watched all that and you didn't even try to help him. He said, Ricky, I was afraid. Can somebody be that scared? Yes. Was he capable of doing it? Dick Gregory said his opinion on it is that he's a damn lie. He did it too.
And none of them seem to have any remorse. None of them, not at all. No.
Lewis was Sean Berry's brother. Lewis said that they were trying to pin the murder on him, but Lewis wasn't there. But Bill King and Russell Brewer said if they had to do it all over again at the trial, while we was outside at the trial, I was there at the trial as well. Bill King, when he got found guilty, he told the whole Bird family to suck his DICK. Does that sound like forgiveness? And then on the killing part of it, he wrote me a letter, which a lot of people have been trying to get it from me, saying that he was an unrepentant racist supremacist, which I was managing James Bird's son at the time, Ross. Because Ross did in the beginning have a lot of hate in him. When we was recording, he just broke out crying. I said, what's the matter, Ross? He said, man, I don't want the men to die that killed my father. And I immediately called Dick, and Dick called Martin III. And we hold the big press conference at the Shape Center in Houston, Texas, to let the world know that, Ross didn't want him to die. So
that's Ross Bird on the end there. That's the son. That's what Dan Rather.
Yes.
News anchor. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we slept outside the death chambers to protest against the execution because so many innocent people like Gary Graham got executed. He was innocent. People getting railroaded, like I said, Mumia Abu-Jamal, his case is right now in the courts. But the bottom line is, didn't have no kind of remorse. In this last execution, I was so mad, believe me, I'm only human. When he told them, my hand is now, I'm ready to die now. They said he was ready to go where all white people at, no black people and stuff. And I was so mad that I said, he don't have no forgiveness, and I'm against capital punishment. And I said, I want him to die. I ain't biting my tongue because he didn't have I couldn't believe a person could be so evil.
So hateful.
Hateful, yeah. They spray painted his face, they slit his throat, and he was fighting them too.
You said they kicked him as well.
Yeah,
after they did all that, they slit his throat, painted his face, and kicked him.
Yes.
I mean, the brother then dragged him
while he was behind the truck.
And he's still alive.
Yeah, Sean said he was alive, and he was alive and still running behind the truck because he was screaming and hollering mama until they hit the pavement. And that's when he said, man, look, the nigga flying everywhere. The other part, he said, felt like the whole truck just broke down and stuff. But he said he was afraid. And matter of fact, he's still been contacting me, and I just haven't been responding to him because how could you sit and watch somebody get lynched? That was lynching. And he was alive. And I went to the funeral. The funeral was very sad. It was just so many people there. I mean, and Dick was just as patient. When he went to the grave site, Dick was holding on to the fence when I brought him to meet the people in Jasper. And tears was rolling down Dick's face. And I've never seen him cry. I never saw Dick Gregory cry all the years that I've been working with him and we've been fighting these cases. Tears were rolling down his face. And I couldn't believe it. And now this day, You know, he's gone now. You know, but he said that it was other documentaries made. He said this one we gonna do. He said he didn't like the one. He said John Voight and Lou Gossett were pretty good friends of his. He said, but the documentary was sugar coated. The two towns of Jasper, Texas. He said was sugar coated. So it had people tried to make other stuff, but I guess because of the documentary wasn't sugar coated. I guess because Dick had a vision. Well, he wanted the world to see this here. He said, you got the whole wide world. Because back then we had, 10 awards, and there's almost 50-something awards. He said the rest of the world needs to see this film. And believe me, I got calls from major networks wanted to cut into it and chop it. And they say Dick would turn over in his grave. To edit this out, to edit that out, to sugarcoat it. And I'm not going to do that. It's for the world to watch. And I'm blessed on your platform to have this award-winning film, and I'm glad I met you.
46 awards and still growing.
Still growing.
And Danny Simmons, like I say, bestowed upon you the philanthropic awards from the Rush Foundation, which is an honor and a blessing as well. And it had all the the accolades, from all the board members as well. What I want to do now, yes,
and I thank Danny because New Yorkers are real people. When I got introduced to Danny years ago, I didn't even, a guy introduced me to put a painting somewhere. I didn't know that was the Danny was Russell Simmons' oldest brother until I found out later. Then we started becoming friends. I went to Danny's house in New York, and such a humble man,
Okay.
And one of the, he did a painting on my meal for to help him on his legal defense fund. It was a big old giant painting. Danny can paint. Danny can do it all. He's one of the greatest artists of our time. And I thank him, for when Ozzie Davis was going to do the narration, Danny had already got him a limo to pick up Mr. Ozzie Davis. He had the studio that Russell and Bruce Springsteen used to have together. He had all that lined up, but Ozzie had passed. So I thank him, for getting something from Rush. I'm blessed. That keeps me motivated. Shows like this, your show, I'm on fire right now because Dick wanted this film to be in the Washington, D.C. Museum. Because this is the last documentary film that Dick is on.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, this is the last one.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I asked him to do the narration. He said, I don't do no narration. I don't do no narration. Ozzy gonna do it. I'm not doing no narration. But he was firm. And like I said, I met him. And we can continue on.
I want to play the next clip I had lined up because what I did, I couldn't show the whole piece because people, I want them to see it on their own, like I did, and absorb it, how it, in totality, from you're filling in the blanks now, you're giving, the backstory, if you will, of how these, racists, and these are young men, cats that didn't had absolutely no remorse, and this is 1998, and that story was always was saying about how James Byrd, Mr. Byrd, used to walk that road, frequently. People would pick him up and give him. So he didn't think anything of it, even though it was 3 white men, and this is like in Texas, in Jasper, Texas, and this is where he's born, raised, and bred. So it was common for him to jump in a vehicle, to take a ride. And I guess they were very friendly, at the beginning, before they went on and did what they did. But I want to play the second clip that I had lined up And then just bear with us. So then it's a little graphic, like Mr. Jason says, we're not sugarcoating anything, and just going to tell it as it is and show it as it is, because this needs to be told in the story. All this craziness we got out here, Solomon and Gomorrah, all the everybody twerking. These girls, you can't go anywhere. You don't even see a female's face now. You got her backside. She bending over, and it's just crazy. But people don't want to talk about nothing real. They don't want to, deal with anything real, the truth. And George Carlin says you introduce the truth into society and it'll shut it down. Richard Pryor was the truth. But so we're going to play a second clip, and Dick Gregory, your mentor, is another one who was keen, to keep it. He kept it, as they say in the street, he kept it a buck, kept it 100, kept it real. All right. So this is the second piece. And as I said, it's graphic in nature, in context, but we're adults here. And I'm going to play it.
Investigators said that King, Brewer, and Berry drove around for much of the evening drinking beer. They went to Newton County, up around the Toledo Bend Dam, looking for a couple of young women they knew. One investigator said they were looking for a girlfriend for Brewer. They were unsuccessful. Bird had been socializing that day as well. Earlier in the afternoon, he had been at a bridal shower for a niece at his parents' house in the east central part of town. Later, he walked on to another gathering, ending up at a party at a friend's house on the other side of US 96, the highway that divides East and West Jasper. A friend who saw him there said he was singing, dancing, laughing, and joking. The party was almost across town from his apartment, but Bird started walking home. He was used to doing that, and besides, in Jasper, it was common to run across someone who would offer him a ride. That someone turned out to be Sean Allen Berry, John William King, and Lawrence Russell Brewer. Before the night was over, prosecutors allege the offer of a ride became a deadly kidnapping.
I'm very hurt, disappointed, to thinking if I could do anything that horrible to a person without a cause. I feel angry, but I don't feel any hate. I am angry at them, but I don't hate them.
Are y'all members of the Aryan Brotherhood? Are you part of the Ku Klux Klan?
We will work not only to make sure that the federal laws we have on the books will be triggered so that we can get the kind of designation that is necessary to ensure that there is swift and tough justice.
This death will be a catalyst to eliminate this kind of activity anywhere it is in America.
The town that calls itself the Jewel of the Forest soon found itself internationally branded as the place where an African-American man had been dragged to death. By the time the out-of-town reporters began to show up, 3 white men had been arrested: John William King, Lawrence Russell Brewer Jr., and Sean Allen Berry were safely behind the locked doors of the Aubrey Cole Law Enforcement Center. As the jail's front lawn turned into a circus of television satellite trucks, protest groups, and politicians, platoons of local, state, and federal law officers met inside to try to figure out just what had happened to James Byrd Jr. out on Huff Creek Road and why.
It was a shock because we had got to the point where physical attacks we weren't worried about. The movement had moved to a mental thing. And so when that hit, the whole country was shocked, particularly black folks. Probably the most incredible thing about it is because of the times and the news and the quickness of it. They arrested them three almost before they identified who the black man was. And the justice was so swift. Who believed a governor of a state that happened in a few years could run for president, and that was never brought up during the campaign. That's how quick to show you the change of America. And we can trace that back to Emmett Till. And thanks for Emmett Till's mother, because death has always been private. And the more ugly you are in the black community from death, we didn't want nobody to see you if you had a stroke. And Raina's funeral home begged her not to open the coffin. She said, I might have to take my boy someplace else. I want the world to see what they done to him. Now remember, you had killing is one thing. You have to go all the way back, thousands of years. And the church wasn't happy with killing you. They had to torture you. That's where torture came from. It didn't come from the army. It came from the church. Torture. And so when you looked at the lynchings that existed in America, it wasn't just killing. It was castrating, cut your tongue out, cut your head off. That was the torture part. And so again, when we looked at that part of it, and so when Jet magazine put Emmett Till's picture on the front cover, to this day, we don't have an anti-lynching bill. Lynching went down to part zero because America was embarrassed that the whole world saw what happens here. And so boys put the word out, you know, Hoover, FBI, hey, to the sheriff, we'll just have no more, we'll get you. And so if you look at Gettysburg, how quick they went in and brought everybody in. That just shows you the signs of the time. And that was my biggest thought, was the quickness of it. The surprise was I didn't realize. I knew there could be some white folks angry enough to kill you, but I didn't know it was still into that torture thing.
Wow. You know, it's just, it's sad and it's just unbelievable. But, you know, again, 1998, you know, and
Yes, sir.
yeah. And we have a nice, you know, audience now. We have well over 720 people have joined us now that are viewing us, and we worldwide throughout in the UK and of course, and so that's good. The word spread, the word got out, and I'm thankful. I also wanted to say hello, Kim. Salute and blessings to you as well, darling. And I hope you're taking in this piece, and say hello to Mr. Jason for his incredible, masterful piece here, and to inform everybody and to keep everybody aware. You know, we've been in the dark for so long, and some of us are still asleep. You know, but yeah, that like I said, it was going to be graphic. They showed the Emmett Till and Emmett Till's mother. She said, no, leave that casket. They wanted to have a closed casket. She said, no, I have to let the world see what happened to my son. And he was a handsome man, handsome young man. And he had no fear. Well, you know, he was naive to what he was from Chicago, not from Mississippi, where it happened. And like I said, I gave that analogy earlier about being in Grambling, you know, coming from the city, from New York. And, you know, I played sports, and we throw, you know, hey, white, you know, on the team, hey, you white motherfucker, you know, that kind of go back and, oh, ain't nothing, hey, nigga, that type of thing. But it's just in jest. And you hear it in the street, but, it, you know, there's nothing really behind it. But like when I stepped into that medium, and the white boys came, you know, in that, it was a pickup truck. It was a pickup truck. Hey, nigga. I said, oh, shit. You know, it went through me, you know, but the reality of what Emmett, you know, was trying to give that, you know, pretty white lady a compliment. He didn't think nothing of it. He told her she looked like a movie star and wanted to show a picture, unaware of, you know, the climate the tension, the social tension. Now he should have had, his crew with him to come in there to school him on it. They didn't, but that's something else. But yeah, so and you said when Dick Gregory called you, and he showed the blood was still fresh in the pavement.
Yes, on the pavement, on those streets. Those streets, like in the daytime, at nighttime, you can't even see your hand in your face off of Huff Creek Road in Jasper. And that road is like a bumpy paving road. And I just was, just seeing that was his flesh, and I couldn't believe it. I smelled it. Man, I ain't slept for days and nights. I told Mr. Gregory about it and stuff. I said, man, I think I better get out of here. He said, no, you're going to stay there and finish what you got to do out there and stuff. He said, this is very important. This is a part of our Black history. They've been doing this to us for years and years and years. He said, and they got caught and stuff. And he said, and the surprising thing, he said, I want to make a documentary and I want the world to see what they did James Byrd, because James Byrd, he was in the military. He graduated from high school. He had kids. He had a mother and father. He was a singer too, but he just didn't make it. But maybe later on, he could have made it, but they wouldn't have did that to him. And like I said, hate is real.
Hate is real.
We tackling a case, like I said, in Beaumont, Texas right now, the Christopher Shaw case, where James Gillum, Beaumont police officer, dropped him on top of his head, and he's paralyzed. And I take him to the doctor sometime because it's hard on him.
And when did this happen?
This happened 1.5 years ago, and Beaumont, Texas don't want to show the audio tape.
That's your hometown.
Yes, Beaumont, Texas, working with Pastor
We'll
Williams.
I'll bring you back on, and we'll, go through that.
Yes.
But this is compelling right here. And Kim Roper, she wanted to say thank you for sharing. She wanted to let you know that.
Thank you so much too, Kim. And it's like I said, it's on YouTube, and we'll get the information where it's free to watch on YouTube, because it's part of our Black history and stuff. Because we all are James Byrd, all of us, all around. The world still haven't seen it. The world still haven't. We got the whole wide world. The world, it needs to be seen in theaters all across the country. That's what Dick wanted. That's what I want, and the rest of the world want it. So it's going to take the people to give it that extra boost, to give it that, because James Byrd didn't die for nothing.
Let's show this next clip.
Yes.
Assembled before you today are members of the family of the victims of some of the most historically horrific murders in the history of humankind. All right. What has brought these two families together, and these members of these families and these allied organizations, is more than their victimization, but their response to victimization. Their response to bring something better out of tragedy than pain, suffering, anger, and vengeance. Each of these families, the King family and the Byrd family, reacting to those horrific murders, have decided that they want to take a stand for justice and against the death penalty.
All right. Father. Yes.
For anyone.
Thank you, Father. All right.
What they have said by their work and by their life's example is that the days of revenge and hatred and violence for them are over. And they want to model for us and speak to us how they have dealt with that pain and tragedy in ways that we have not experienced to lead us to a better society.
When I was here last year, James Byrd, we talked about him, Ross and I, along with Dick Gregory, because many of us across our nation have been praying for this family for a long time. But to see the courage that this young man exhibits, oh yes, stand up for that which is truth. Yes, Father. And it does not come often, or at least not enough in our society. And so, as Ms. Adams, his mother, I'm proud of this young man, proud to know him, and I thank Ricky Jason for bringing us together to have this opportunity at this point to perhaps do something that some would say is unprecedented.
Martin Luther King said, you know, we here to say that no killing is right. And then to see his son say the same thing Jesus Christ said, forgive them. You know, that sounds good on paper, but we don't believe it. That's why black folk have so much sugar diabetes and high blood pressure and arthritis. We can't forgive nothing. You know, and then after you hate, that's instant gratification. See, the poorer you are, you need instant gratification. That's why sex is good, instant gratification. That's why if you drink some whiskey today and you didn't get high for 6 months, wouldn't nobody drink it. The poorer you are, the more you need instant gratification. So that's why somebody whipping you, they stomping you and cussing you out at the same, that's instant gratification. And so when you stop and see what that evil is, how it tears you up, it just burns you up in the inside. And until, you know, people learn that. They don't like to be with a killing. I could see a car turn over. My mother burned to death. If I can't release it. You know, it's like, I'm 74 years old. And if every morning I woke up and you brought me a pile of money for 74 years times 365 days, and my family know you bringing it to me, and then tomorrow I don't wake up, and we got tight jaws. That's what happens when people die. Here's a God that can put air in you, sunlight on you for 74 years, and one day I withdraw it and your jaws is tight. That's a violation.
When my father was killed, the first thing that they did was bombard me with the death penalty. What they do is bombard the family with the death penalty. You know, and as a human, the first reflex is always, well, this to happen to me, well, I think that ought to happen to him too. And that's the wrong way to think, because thinking like that, you're gonna end up in the same situation that man's in right now that I'm about to go visit. And you know, I would hate to even have myself in that predicament of being locked up for the rest of my life for crime committed on another man because of the color of his skin or anything that happened to that. And with that, what it's about is being God-like. Being God-like is just treating people with respect, having love for life, and not want to see another man die.
Wow. What they did to his father, and then he still had, compassion and forgiveness in his heart, He said what? He didn't want to see another man die. Wow.
That's what he said.
You know, that's why I say that's powerful. That along, and then Martin Luther King III, Jr. III, he thanked you personally, you know, for bringing the people together, the community.
Yes.
Because you're from Beaumont, Texas, and you came all the way to Jasper. Now, how far is Jasper from Beaumont?
Jasper's like about 45 miles, almost an hour from Beaumont.
Pretty much an hour.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes. It took off. This film took off like a whirlwind, you know, independently. And Dick Gregory said, "That's God. That's God did it." You know, because you got to submit it in film festivals. You're lucky if you get picked.
If you get picked.
Yes.
And so how many awards to date so far? 46, 47 something like that?
Counted, it was 48 because I still got some in boxes that I haven't even opened.
You haven't even opened yet?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and it just every time I look up, it's doing something. Every time I look up, it's doing something. Like I said, national networks called me this year. They wanted some of it. And I told him I'm not going to break the film down like that. You know, Dick Gregory would turn over in his grave, you know, and wasting his time and stuff. Like it's been other stuff been made. Showtime did some more other stuff, but it ain't getting a thump, you know, what this is doing. You know, in the beginning when Dick said we're going to do it like this, we're going to do it like that and do it. And I could start seeing his vision and stuff. And then when I sent it to Dick, Dick sent it back to me. I sent it to Dick. He sent, we've been back and forth. And he say,
he finally approved it?
Huh?
He finally approved it? He finally signed off on it?
He say, now that's what I'm talking about. And
okay.
Mika Dickoff also helped too. She did in a blink of an eye. She got her best friend out of prison. She helped on it. And this film just, I don't know what to say. You know, it's been people doing stuff. They said this one here can't touch this one because this one, Dick said, this is a part of us. It's for all of us.
For all of us.
Yeah, he says for all of us. And I was
and
blessed.
What touched me deep, I didn't mean to cut you off, Ricky.
Yes.
When Ross Bird, you know, James Bird's son, when he said he don't want to see, you know, the fact that you figured he would be so, you know, filled with, you know, hate and he wanted revenge, kill them, you know, give him the death penalty, huh?
He was in the studio working on his album and they say he ended up crying. I said, what's going on? He said, Ricky, he said, man, I don't want to see those men die that did that to my father. He said, because I ain't going to be no better than him. He said, I can't support that. I said, Ross, is that you talking? He said, Ricky, I don't want it. He said, I want them to stand there the rest of their life and I want them to think about what they did. He said, I don't want them to get out. He said, I want them to stand there and think about it. He said, I want them to think what they did and stuff. And a lot of people got upset and stuff, but that's how he felt.
Right.
You know? And, you know,
they wanted them to die. They wanted the death penalty. Yeah.
You know, so, you know, killing is wrong. Like I said, you know, the 7 in St. Louis, a guy fixing to get executed, and he got evidence to prove he innocent. So the bottom line is we playing God now, and I think let them stand there because killing them right off ain't doing them but putting them to sleep, and they worry make them suffer and think about what they did. But God should be the one to be taking a life. That's how I feel about it. I was angry that last execution. I didn't have my teacher, Dick Gregory, with me. The guy was so happy. He was jumping up and down. He told the people to tighten his arm up, Bill King, and stuff. They said, Bill, you might get a stay. So I ain't worrying about no stay. I'm ready to go where all white people at. Well, I ain't got to never worry about this world. His mind was really set. I couldn't believe it. And this is real. But this last execution, I didn't think I was going to make it home. But thanks.
They killed 2 of them, right?
Yes.
And the one who said that he wet his pants?
Yeah, Sean.
That was the one that he's still in there, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if he's still wetting his pants.
My understanding, he wants me to come back and see him, you know, but I don't want to go back in there, you know, because he's, like Dick Gregory said, he's lying.
He's lying.
Yeah.
Let me show you the last clip I put together for you.
And I thank you so much.
Is this meeting your approval so far?
I love it. I mean,
all right, great. So because I just said, you know what? Let me take, as I told you, you know, before we came on air, what I felt was the stronger power points, you know, and then as you're doing, you're filling in the pieces as we go along. And this is the last in the segment of what I put together.
Thank you.
I mean, the rules of what a white can do to a black in America was there before we were born. The rules for if you go in and turn state, well, they get somebody who wasn't even at the crime. Turn state witness. That's an accepted thing in a sick, degenerate society.
And a lot of people was amazed. They couldn't believe it. Caucasian people, African American people, everybody was in disbelief that this could happen in 1998. And this was not 1920 anymore. This was a modern day lynching.
Do you know 5 cities in America in the last 3.5 years they paid out $2.5 billion settling police brutality cases out of court? They used to not have to worry about that. Until white America saw something in 1968 at the Democratic Convention. They saw cops whooping white college kids. And something happened. So that whole sacred thing that was around them wasn't there no more. If you go back to 68 before that, when you went into any white suburbs, the major #1 bumper sticker, support your local police. If you found the sign now, it's a collector's item.
The Ku Klux Klanmen staged a rally in front of the county courthouse. About 18 Klansmen participated in what was allocated as a peaceful rally to protest the killing of James Byrd Jr.
You sold a guy because your ass is mine.
You show you how you big as a country.
Can't see why the sun don't shine.
Before the KKK rally began, members of the new Black Panther Party walked through the streets of Jasper, chanting and warning of violence if there were problems for blacks.
We must have our God and our guns, and pray that God will bless us to shoot straight when it's time to shoot straight.
No, we did not distribute the weapons. No, we did not. But we will be offering self-defense classes to the black community here in Jasper for the next 5 weeks.
These guys were absolutely violating no laws. There was no bullets. Each one of the guys that did have a gun had a couple officers right there with them.
The NAACP called earlier this week on behalf of the House leadership and the Senate leadership quickly pass the Hate Crimes Act of 1998 sponsored by Senator Kennedy. We've also called upon the Attorney General to find existing law that will allow federal charges to be brought in this case.
This is a day of renewal, and I pray today that James Byrd's life will not have been lost in vain, but that out of tragedy we can find something good for this country.
That's the depth of the hatred. They just mad that all I could do was kill you, right? So they do that. They've been doing that. They've been doing that. And lynching black folk, lynching Jews, lynching Chinese. They've been doing that. That's part of the whole sexual experience with that type of mentality.
It is an honor to be in Jasper County. I've met so many wonderful people here that if I had to have a second hometown, it would be Jasper. I'm from Waco, Texas, and I'm proud to be white. I'm proud to be in America, and I'm proud to be here today.
Yes, thank you so much.
God bless you. Thank you, man, for,
Yes.
as Kim Roper said, for sharing. And when James Bird, his daughter, when she said what she says, and again, I wanted to end it on that, to show that, but the black hugging the white, which was it's a hell of a thing, just to show that the healing they're trying to heal, and
Yes.
tell everybody, tell the audience about what Ross's, I'm sorry, with James' daughter at the, near the end of the piece where she was with, I think his son, with one of the, what was it, what was the Barry's son?
Louis Berry. That's Sean Berry's brother.
Oh, the brother, right.
Yeah. Yeah, he passed away 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just trying to figure out and understand, how could this happen? How in the world could it happen? Trying to figure it out,
Right.
and getting those two to meet each other, that was hard doing, but to get those two to meet each other and stuff, and trying to figure out why did this happen? How can somebody hate you so much? And we all God's children, we all bleed the same blood. It's and I hate to say this, in the town of Jasper still haven't changed.
It still hasn't changed. I mean, the Klan, in what James Bird's daughter said, she said it's hard to believe that it wasn't 1920. It's hard to believe that this is 1998.
Yes.
And then seeing the Klan running out in the street, in broad daylight, and the sheriff, at least he said, yeah, talking regarding about the Black Panthers, the new Black Panther Party that were in town and had arsenal weaponry. He said no, those men, they were respectful. They didn't do anything wrong, is what he said, right? The way he put it. And he says if they had a gun or a rifle, they had a policeman next to them. So he respected their Second Amendment. So that's what's up. So the right to carry, open carry, But yeah, so it was a hell of a. You did a great job, man.
Thank
Very
you so much.
powerful, masterful piece. And
Thank you.
people have to see it. Have to see the whole. This is the name of it.
Bird, the life and tragic death of James Bird Jr. featuring Dick Gregory on YouTube. Bird,
It's on
B-Y-R-D. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
He always said he would put Jasper, Texas on the map.
He always said it. But he didn't know he was going to put it on the map that way.
That way, right.
Yes. And his favorite song was Purple Rain.
Is that right?
Yes, he used to always sing Purple Rain and stuff.
See, but he was a hell of a singer too. That's what in the piece.
Awesome. He was sounding like Al Green mixed with Smokey Robinson.
Oh, is that right?
Played some of his old tapes, and man, he was great. But maybe later on he would have made it. You never know what time. Look how long it took Red Fox to make it. You never know. He might have would have made it if this wouldn't have happened to him.
Yeah.
And this just a tribute to keep his legacy alive, because we don't want this to get swept under the rug.
Right.
I think this need to be in every church. This need to be in every school, every prison. That's why we made it, so that the world can say they saw it. I want everybody to look at it and share it with family and friends, because hate is real, and he didn't deserve to die like that. And I'm humbled just to be Dick Gregory's protege. I'm humbled to be on this show today. I'm humbled that I'm still alive because I got so many death threats, my family, my kids, and and I'm just constantly just keep pushing on. Like I said, I'm just pushing. I'm still, sometimes I feel lost without Mr. Gregory, but I'm still pushing, and I'm doing what he would want me to do. He would be so proud of this and proud of this show. And this is one of the, you took your time with it, and I thank you. It wasn't no rush. You was very, very professional. I know anybody that messed with Danny Simmons gonna be professional. So yeah, so you were very professional. I loved it. It kind of make me want to cry, but I know, we gotta keep pushing this.
Got to keep pushing.
And
I know
anytime,
you. I know Dick's voice is in your head, in your
yeah,
ear. You're listening to
yeah,
him right now.
yeah.
You know
Don't
what
sleep
he's
on it.
saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't sleep. Like he told me, you slung that thing everywhere. That's what he told me.
You'll
Doing like
come
you,
back, huh? I
yeah,
would love you to come back and then talk about your
Christopher Shaw.
other projects.
Yeah,
I,
Christopher Shaw.
yeah, that,
Yeah.
and then
And
also tell us.
Mamil's new case. And
Yeah.
Mamil, we waiting on the judge to make the ruling. She asked the state to release all evidence because they found some new evidence in 2019 was up under the bills, up under their closets, and so she ordered them. So we hope Mamil can get a new trial. I'd like to thank Pam Africa, Ramona Africa, or Ernest Ford, Mickey Dickoff, and you and my big brother Danny Simmons and stuff. Maybe me and you and Danny can work on something. Danny need to do a movie on his life story. I told him that.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk
Yes,
after
sir.
for sure.
And
I'm with
Rodney
it.
Reed case.
I'm
And the
in.
Rodney Reed case.
I'm in.
Yes.
So we get you back,
Yes,
and
sir.
this was so informal and educational,
Thank
and
you.
I'm glad that you had reached out and put me on to this, man, because I'd heard about this, or during the time when it happened. I couldn't believe it though, but I didn't know the magnitude of
Yeah.
what really transpired.
Yes, sir.
You were there. You were on the front lines. Then Dick Gregory. Uh, it's just and get again. I keep saying the same words over again, but it is. You just can't put enough
And I didn't
adjectives
want to let
for
him
it.
down. I didn't want to
No,
let Dick
you
Gregory
did.
down.
No, you
Yeah.
didn't. And he called you first and foremost. So, you
Yes.
know, yeah, you learned well for sure, and
Thank you,
carry
sir.
his legacy on and to keep his name. I mean, he's always, iconic, and it's always going to be. When they talk about, because Dick Gregory was he was a great comedian, and no question about that. He was the first one. I know Bill Cosby came out and he used to sit down, but Dick sat down. he was so
Jack
cool.
Paul show.
On the Jack Paw show, and then that's when they asked him to work at the Playboy club, Playboy all white, elitist type situation, and with the has hardcore. Not well, he was hot, but he was so clever. He was so incredible. Like with that book, Nigga, when he wrote that book.
He saw it before anybody else can see it. Like he told Richard Pryor, they said nobody couldn't talk to Richard Pryor. He had a problem with Richard Pryor pulling his pants down. Dick went up there and talked to him and said, "Hey man, don't do that. If you stop pulling your pants down, you'll be the biggest thing on the planet." And Richard Pryor wound up being the biggest thing on the planet.
Dick
John
knew.
Lennon and his wife had a drug problem. Dick went stayed with them for 3 months. They didn't smoke drugs ever since. Michael Jackson's brother, Randy Jackson, was in an auto accident.
Mm-hmm.
They was going to amputate his legs.
Ooh.
Mom and them called Dick. Dick flew in, and today Randy Jackson got his legs. So it's a lot. Michael got canceled in the Wiz because his throat and his voice. Mama Jackson called and Joe called. Dick called me. He said, Rick, I'm back over here in Neverland. Because he called me every time he there. Rick,
Okay.
the phones are so huge. Michael was able to play in the Wiz. So I can go on and on. The man knew stuff before it even happened. And that's incredible, man. Like I said, I'll never ever be another. And he missed, like I said, I'm not Dick Gregory, but I'm just like him. And I
That's
thank
saying a
you
lot.
for
Yeah.
giving me this golden opportunity to be on this show and stuff, because I've been through a lot. You know, I've just lost my grandmother and I just lost my son due to cancer and stuff. And
Sorry
I'm
for your
holding
loss.
on. And I'm holding on. And a lot of you people out there don't know I used to be blind. Went blind in the early 70s. And my mother wrote Bob Hope, and he paid for my transplants. You know, this is pictures of me and Bob Hope when I thanked Mr. Hope for helping me to
Wow.
be able to see again. So when I wear special scleral lenses, but without these lenses, I can't see. They cost like $4,000 a piece. And through the movement and doing the things I do, you know, like I said, I thank everybody. I love people, and I just want the best for everybody. And like I said, I definitely want to get on that Christopher Shaw case in Beaumont, Texas, because he don't deserve to be paralyzed. We're gonna fight like hell.
So we'll bring you back, and you give us an update on that, and then you'll tell
Yeah,
us exactly what transpired. How did that you know, that
yeah,
incident happened? You know, like
yes.
these 5 Memphis police
So
officers.
sad.
Yeah,
So
you know,
sad.
and you think this is what 2023, huh? You know,
Yes.
and so but yeah, so we have more work to do, more ground to cover, and I want to thank you, Ricky Jason,
Yes.
for
Thank you.
being here with me on the George Mason Show, and I enjoyed today's your birthday, and
Yes,
happy
my
birthday to you.
birthday. And this is one of my best. I did so many interviews, but this is one of the best that I'll never ever forget.
God bless you and thank you.
Thank you
I
so
appreciate
much.
it. But yeah, so uh, can I give you a round of applause, man? Would that be apropos? God bless you, and we'll talk more about you know the other side, the entertainment side, the dancing and traveling with Run DMC. Yeah, that's what Danny's brother would run with
Yeah.
Reverend Run Joe. And what was it, the Force MDs? Just
Yeah.
to mention a few. We just scratched the surface. We just put a teaser out there, you know, for your next appearance. But
Yes.
Ricky, I want to, God bless you. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you. I'll hit you up if not later on tomorrow for sure.
Thank you. And much love and support.
Much much love. God bless you and thank
Peace.
you.
Thank you,
Peace.
Mr. Mason. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
God bless you.
Bless you.
Yes, sir.
That was Ricky Jason. You know, and we appreciate him. I want to thank him for his great work. And the documentary, you have to see it. It's the life and tragic death of James Byrd Jr. Um, as he said, you check that out on YouTube. And it was a pleasure meeting him and hearing that story. But once you see that whole documentary, then you'll have a better understanding of you know what the struggle is as far as to what this man you know is going through and how he put that piece together. Very very powerful. You know, like Martin Luther King uh, the third said, yeah, we want to thank Ricky for bringing us together and for doing that kind of work. And listen, he had Bob Hope, right? Reached out, his mother reached out to Bob, and he got back. And then, you know, again, it's just the man's blessed. There's no question about that. We don't know how we're gonna, our blessings are gonna be given to us, bestowed upon us, or you know, but it's just up to us, uh, you know, to understand and accept it as Karen says, awesome and yet heartbreaking. Yes, at the same time. And she's of the white persuasion, Ricky. If you listen, but Karen is cool. She's down. She's understands the culture, and she's just good people. And that's what it takes. But that's what Dr. King was always preaching, right? For us to all come together, like that white lady and that black woman in your piece hugged each other, at the end. And you guys see the piece, you'll see Mr. Bird's daughter, the way she was with his brother, one of the murderers, one of the killers' brother. And he seemed like he had some remorse. Seemed real, like, he was guilty. He was a little twisted, because it impacts the whole family. When you hate, I never understood how people can hate to that degree. They were kicking him and the whole nine, but it's like, I watch, sports, basketball, and you see, for the most part, you watching basketball, the team is black that's on the court, like the Boston South. I had a girlfriend, ex-girlfriend. She was from Boston. I went to Boston. It was real bad. They really. I thought I was South Africa. It was bad. It was bad. This is some years ago. But what point I'm getting at, and I'm watching the game, watching the Boston Celtics. Everybody on that court is black, and the majority of the stands, the stadium is white. And they're rooting, let's go, come on, Jason Tatum, AJ. But then as soon as the game is over, when they go outside, what are they, a nigga? How do you go from that, to loving and idolizing and worshiping, that black man, to now all of a sudden he's a nigga? So it's got to be something that's really some deep psychological, psychotic stuff that's going on. It's obvious without even saying it. You can't love on one end and then hate, because that's weird, to say the least. But you know what? That's why they have professionals that are rich trying to figure that out. To get in your head. But it's crazy, man. So, and I live by the beach. I make that point that I go out there in the summertime when it's nice, and I see, like, sometimes you see the kids, black and white, don't even know each other, and they're playing, they're throwing water on each other and sand, and they just meet each other. There's no rape, there's no hate, because they don't know hate yet. Hate is taught, it's instilled in them. You know what I'm saying? So uh, we got a lot of work to do as humans. Animals and children and babies, man, they're pure. They're still pure. But again, thank Mr. Jason, Mr. Ricky Jason, man, for bringing us that incredible piece of documentary. Please watch it if you get a minute. And thank God for bringing them to us, and for keeping him on his birthday too. Like I told him, that's an omen. It's a good omen as far as I'm concerned. And next week, I'm gonna have the Most Brothers. It's a comedy team. They will have. They'll tell you their story. They bring them back together. I had on one part of the team recently, Gil T, Gilbert Tucker, call him Dark Most. He's an actor now. He's in a soldier's play. He's just doing his thing all across Broadway, up and down. He's in Florida, all around. But I'm going to bring the team back together, the Most Brothers, and they headlined in Vegas. They headlined in Atlantic City. It's very funny and very professional and very talented, super talented. And so join me next week with that. And that's will be the 8th. And then on the 15th, I have Sunga of the Valley. He is a drummer, African drummer, percussionist, and he is incredible. Sunga of the Valley. He used to tour, and he tutored under and trained and worked with Oba Babatunde. Google that name, and he's a legend. He's iconic and great drummer, great. So we got some terrific shows coming up, and I gotta have Chucky Chuck back on. With Kevin Parker, had to cancel their date, but we'll bring them back. And you know, we got Springfield Day right around the corner. And folks, I just want to say, be strong, be positive. You can't be wrong if you're doing the right things. And persistence overcomes resistance all the time, every day and all day. Keep God first and walk in the light. And I want to thank you for tuning in. God bless. Peace.